Hello and welcome to my video where I will be... Where's the camera? Hello and welcome to... Hello and welcome to this video where I'll be going through my process of planning and writing a comic strip, or in this case I'll be planning the first little mini chapter of Marvel 4S, which is my own kind of Marvel fan fiction / Marvel fan story. What I do first is just write down the basic and essential ideas that I want to get across in the comic. The main points of interest are Sam receiving his letter from S.H.I.E.L.D., Sam meeting his teammates, Sam doing a mock test session of a simulated mission with them where he fails horribly because remember his character arc is around him becoming a good leader, so I need to show him failing so that we can then see him get better as the story goes along. And then after that, they all arrive at their new dorm at Stark University. And at the end of the first chapter, we get some foreshadowing of the main villain, whose name is Akhenaten, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not Egyptian, sorry. So just to get some foreshadowing for the main big bad, because with comics and with any story, you need some sort of ticking time bomb to get the characters moving, to push them. An easy way to do that, introduce a antagonist or a villain early on to really hook your readers, hook them. By writing out your main ideas, you can then just focus on those. Once that's done, you can sprinkle little bits in between of characterization or world building. I love doing this because it helps me make sure my story is on track. When it comes to actually planning out my pages, what I like to do is create a table like this. Column on the very left is for numbering the boxes or the panels. After that, you have the action / scene where I write down descriptions for what's going on in each panel. And then there's a dialogue box, and then there's a page layout. I do my layouts rather backwards. Most comic artists would sketch out their pages first. They will just sketch them out as tracks to figure out if they want a headshot or establishing shot. I make the panels and the boxes as big as how much information is being conveyed. I want the first scene to be Sam coming home so that his mother can give him the letter that's from S.H.I.E.L.D. But I'll probably just have him in his normal clothes, skateboarding. So him skating through town, a very dynamic shot of him skating through he's eating something, papers flying out his bag because he hasn't zipped it up properly, just to show he's a very active person and to show the setting and to show that he's going somewhere. So I would make that, but for most first panels I would make them just a very big establishing shot anyway, so you know where the story is set. It doesn't have to be deeply detailed, because the less detailed you make it, the more ambiguous it is, the more you give yourself room to just explore. I don't think it's good to really limit yourself with Sam is skateboarding home, he has something in his mouth, and there's a cat behind, there's a car behind, and there's beeping, and there's lights, and there's clouds, and there's people walking back. Just keep it vague enough so that you can let your own creative juices flow. This is just to help you plan out, really. If for dialogue, there's no dialogue. You don't need dialogue. Oh my goodness. Top tip, you don't need dialogue in every single scene in a comic. One thing I hate the most when I read webtoons or comics, and they're just yapping, yap. If it's just pure yapping, talking, I can't do it. I need the characters to be doing something. Comics and shows and video games are visual mediums. If I wanted to read characters talking, I would listen to a podcast. I would read a book maybe not even read a book. I want to look at something and see. I want to receive the story with my eyes. I don't want to receive the story with my ears. It's a comic, So for the second panel, so you want to transition from him going home to him being home. So I would do that with him opening the door. Next panel would then be his mom being you've got a letter. Because another thing with comics, you want to be able to understand the story without reading the dialogue. If you can look at a page and know what's going on without any dialogue, that's good. If you're looking at a comic page and you're I don't understand what's going on, I need subtitles, I need dialogue, I need words, I need things pointed, you failed. The third panel will be Sam's mom. I don't remember her name. Editing me will say her name. I don't remember her name. With the dialogue we need Sam, there's a letter for you. We don't even need to have Sam saying there a letter. You're not dumb, you can read it. He doesn't have to say a letter for me. Yes, a letter for you. He just said. Fourth one, it's just going to be him reading the letter. Another top tip, you don't have to show every single action. You don't have to show him walking towards her and then taking the letter, then opening the letter, then bringing the... That's not necessary. You don't need to show every single action. Otherwise, you will be drawing for a very long time and you will never ever finish your comic. I'm going to add a panel because that's not enough stuff going on for me. Personally, I like to keep my pages between 5 and 6 panels. Sometimes I'll have a sequence of small panels, like maybe 3 small panels, 1 row, and then it might get up to 7. Very rarely do I ever go over 6 panels. The more panels you have, the less detailed they get, and like you'll just be looking at little squiggles on a page. Like you want to have some semblance of details on your page, so I try to keep mine to 5 or 6 panels. The final panel should just be him like looking a bit shocked and saying, "You've been accepted into Stark," like he's reading it. Or maybe it could be his hand holding the piece of... See, we're brainstorming, isn't this fun? It could be his hand with the piece of paper in it. And the other text is blurred out because people don't read or aren't reading, they're scanning it. You don't need to have a lot of text. Logo of Stark University, blurred text, and then the main text is just "You've been accepted." And then that is the main details of the scenes done. For the actual layout, what I do, this is the fun part, I love doing it. I'll go into the shape tool and I'll just make a page. Ooh, fancy. And I'll just make it white, fill that in white, make the lines black, and then I'll set this as default shape. So the next time I make a shape, it will already have that color and that liner. It just speeds up the process along. First scene is going to be an establishing shot. I'll make that this like that. I love when there's panels with no borders, no black outline. To convey that there's no black outline, I will make the box red. There's going to be no black box around this panel. Sam opening the door. Now him opening the door, it's not that important. It's just a transition from him being outside to him being home. So we don't need to have another big panel for that. It wouldn't be necessary to convey such little information with such a big panel. Next is his mom holding out a letter saying, "A letter for you." So this is also not that much information. I'll probably make these like halfway, like just half and half. Him opening the door, his mum holding a letter. I'll make this panel a little bit smaller, just so that we can like get a good image of his mum, the love of his life, his mother. Oh, we love mums. Say you love your mother. He's reading the letter. Once again, that's not too much information. It's not that important. Expression will be very important here to see like how he's responding to the letter that he's reading. Like he'll probably, his eyes will be open, he'll be shocked. Then again, would he be shocked? He's worked with S.H.I.E.L.D. before. He's worked with Guardians of the Galaxy before. He's been on a team with Spider-Man before. Like he shouldn't be shocked that S.H.I.E.L.D. is like, hey, you could like come here for free and also be a hero. Like he wouldn't be shocked, but like I think getting a scholarship to Stark University would be pretty cool, I guess. The final panel. I'm debating whether or not I should add another panel. I think that's fine. That's good. You see that? You see how simple and sweet and nice that oof, I loved it. Yes. That's the first page done. That's how I like to lay out my pages. When writing Nia, keep things simple for drawing Nia. So now when drawing Nia sees this, she's going to be like, I know what writing Nia was cooking. That really is all the information that you need. If it's a different artist and a different writer, then yeah, you would need more information just to like get your point across. You know yourself. I know myself. When I say Sam skateboarding home, I know what I want. I know how much detail I want. I know what I'm trying to communicate, so I don't need that much. Writing too much details into the actions and into the scenes, it actually limits you because you're forcing yourself to try and fit as many, like you're trying to fit everything that you've written down, but really you should like try and keep it as flexible as possible. But anyways, let's move on to next page. So what we're just to do, I'm just going to copy this. Bang, done, beautiful. So if we go back to our ideas page, back up here, Sam meets Quasar and they get into a little fight. So this is the next day. When it comes to captions like that, what I'll do is I'll write like the next day, but it will be in blue. So blue means that it's just a caption. It's not dialogue or anything. I mean, it makes it easier, like, to color code things. Colors exist for a reason, you know? Well, I could probably start with Sam walking somewhere with his friends, and then he hears an explosion, and so he goes to check it out because he's Nova. He puts his helmet on, he gets there, but Lars is already there. And because Lars is originally from Norway, Sam has never seen him before. He's like, who the fuck is this guy? And they get into a little squabble. And then once again, no dialogue is necessary. You don't need dialogue. I don't need to know what his friends are talking about. You can like insert your own thoughts in what you're yapping about. It's not necessary to like have dialogue every scene. Like the first page, there's one, oh, I forgot to have him say like, Mom, I'm home. Sitting near. What's for dinner, maybe? I feel like teenage boys are just always hungry, aren't they? Explosion. Boom. Because it's a comic. We need action. We need boom, bang, bang, boom. Oh, one thing I forgot to note. I actually distinguish who is speaking by doing that, by adding a colon, the person and what they're saying. But because there's only one person speaking in this panel, it's not necessary. You could just say, what's that? Lars in his Quasar costume. They wouldn't call it costume. Heroes in his suit, his suit. Like heroes don't call their suits costumes to them. It's just what they wear. Defeating the bad guy. Who is the bad guy? I don't know. I'll just fucking draw like a plant monster or something. It's not that important. It's not that big of a detail. Comic artists, cut yourself some slack. We get so caught up wanting to draw everything and wanting to add all these bits of detail, like what Eiichiro. Like, no, especially for your first comic, cut yourself some slack. Just like keep things simple. Remember what you're trying to get across in the scene. You're just trying to get across that Sam is seeing a new hero for the first time, and we're seeing what this hero can do. This hero is fighting someone. When I think of like a character defeating a bad guy, you can think of an action scene in your head, and then you can just like put that to paper. It doesn't have to be this whole immaculate scene. Also, this bad guy will never be seen ever again. I will add a 6th panel because we need to see Sam like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck are you? Why is he being so aggressive? First of all, he helped you, Sam. I mean, his characterization, especially the Ultimate Spider-Man, he was very like rash. He's very a bit egotistical because he's Nova. He's the Nova. He doesn't need anyone to help him. I don't think Lars would say anything either. Let's figure out the layout for this page. So we have Sam walking with his friends. Layer up your panels, people. Get wild. Get freaky with your panels. Mishmash. Be really loose with them. Sam running in this panel. It looks like he's running into the scene. Like, it looks like Sam is literally running from one panel into the next. So he's running to where Lars is. And then that's the second page done. I try to keep it as 3 rows. 1 row of panel that you follow, another. I keep it as 3. I very, very rarely ever go to like 4. Sometimes I just have 2. Just have 2 big rows if it's like a really big action scene, but generally just 3 is fine. Okay, this is gonna sound mean, but as a comic artist, pretend your readers are kind of dumb. Pretend they don't want to read anything, and pretend that they can't follow along because the easier it is to follow along, the more you want to look at it. If you've got like stuff going on everywhere and like you got like, it's not really fun to read. And plus, when you're reading a comic, you're just kind of skimming. Imagine you're just skimming across it. You have to be able to understand it, so you don't want to have too many rows. If they wanted to read rows and rows and rows and rows of stuff, they'd pick up a book. You know, they wouldn't go to a comic. That's page 3 though. Hey, look at us busting through. Oh my gosh. We'll have Lars looking all happy and chipper and smiling because he's just taken down an enemy and someone just asked who he is. He's on top of the world right now. He thinks he's famous. He's like, oh, he wants to know who I am. He sounds very formal. English is not his first language, so to like differentiate their voices a bit more, Lars will almost sound a bit formal because he's trying to speak in a way people will understand him because he's Norwegian. If you ever heard Europeans trying to speak English, they come across as very formal because that's how they've like learned. Especially when you learn for like just basic translations, you come across as very formal. And it's also important to just have your characters have specific voices. You don't want all your characters to sound the same. That's why it's like, I am the hero Quasar. I am the hero Quasar. But other people just say, I'm Quasar. But he's not chill. He's not cool. He thinks he's chill. He's not. I think I will have Sam actually respond in the same panel. You can't see him. His speech bubble will be like spiky because he's shouting. So you can like imagine his expression. He's like shouting off panel. The focus is quite literally on Lars. And Sam is off the panel, so he's mad. He's like angry. He's like, what do you mean I'm the hero? I'm the hero of the city. Sam puts on his helmet. It's a transition of him going from his civilian clothes to his Nova suit. So I guess I should use their hero name. It's like, I ain't seen you before. Why are you taking my thunder? Something like that. Oh, that sounds so cringe. But Sam is cringe. Especially at the beginning of the story. You're not really supposed to like him that much because he's so full of himself. Or maybe he like insults him. And then Nova just swings at him. Swinging them in because they're like rivals, you know. You want to show their rivalry, and then they start like they're not play fighting, like sparring. Like Nova isn't actually mad at him. Also, Lars did insult him. He said you should do better to protect your city. Like, you're not a good hero if you let this monster get loose. Oh, that's a good one. That makes Nova's swinging a bit more justified. Oh, if you let this weak monster get loose, or like wreak havoc. And then that gives Nova a reason to like swing at him. I think the next panel would be like Lars catching Nova's punch because like his bracelets are talking to him So he has like the quantum bands. They like speak to him. The universe speaks to him through them. So Lars like catches a punch and he's like, I gotta go. And he leaves. And so Sam is still annoyed at Lars because of this. This is like setting up their rivalry. That's it. That's all you need. He flies away. See you around, bad hero. That'd piss me off. Yay! So basically, I'm going to do that with the rest of the pages that I've planned out, with the ideas that I've planned out. And then at the end, I'll just like read through it and go through it. I have just finished writing up and planning the other pages for our first little chapter. More introduction to this comic, so I'll just like read through it. Sam is skateboarding home. Sam opens the door. He goes, Mom, I'm home, what's for dinner? And then Sam's mom is holding a letter. She says, Sam, there's a letter for you. He reads the letter. It's saying he's been accepted to Stark University. Sam walks in with his friends. There's an explosion. People are running away screaming. Sam runs to investigate. He says, what's that? Lars is in his Quasar suit using his powers. And then Lars defeats the bad guy. Sam points to Lars, annoyed. He says, who the hell are you? Lars is very happy, and he says, I am the hero, Quasar. Sam says, who? I'm the hero here. Sam puts on his helmet, and he squares up to Lars. He says, I ain't seen you before. And Quasar says, of course not. I'm from Norway. You're not a very good hero if you let this weak monster wreak havoc. And Nova swings at Lars, who just laughs and dodges. Lars says, aha, you're so slow. Nova says, I'll show you slow. So Nova and Lars spar. Lars catches Nova's punch and he looks at his band and he says, I need to go. Lars flies away, giving Nova a salute, who's very annoyed. He says, see you later, bad hero. Nova says, get back here, I'm not a bad hero. Nova's talking to his friends. Shoot, I almost forgot. I gotta be somewhere. I'll catch you guys later. And he flies off. He arrives at the SHIELD helicarrier, enters the meeting room where Fury is. He says, Fury, I got your letter. I'm so stoked to be going to Stark University. So Lars is sitting on the chair with Amy and Chen. And Lars says, oh, it's you. And obviously Sam can hear his accent. He says, you? What are you doing here? And Fury says, Sam, have a seat. Sam sits next to Lars and Sam's very upset. Fury says, Sam, Lars, Amelia and Chen, you are officially the protectors of Stark University as you undergo your studies. Your team's designation is SHIELD's Superstar Squadron, or 4S for short. Chen asks, why superstars? And Fury says, it's inspired by your star-themed powers. Chen says, mine are zodiac signs, not star signs. Fury says, take it up with Coulson. And Amy says, I like the name. Sam arguing with Fury as he gestures to the others. He says, I don't need a team. I'm more than capable on my own. And Fury says, they need you. You're going to be their leader. And Sam's like, what? Fury talks to Sam and he says, it's their first time having responsibilities this big. They need a leader with experience. And Sam says, ha! You hear that? You answer to me. And Fury says, no, they still answer to me. Fury walks past them towards the training room. He says, today you'll undergo a simulated mission. Team building, we'll call it. They enter the room and Fury says, Sam, your job is to direct your team so they can successfully take down the targets. Begin. Starts. Nova flies in the air. He's like, whoa, wait, I don't even know what your powers are. This is totally unfair. And Quasar says, I throw light. Amy says, I throw stars. And Chen says, I don't throw anything. Nova talks to Lars and says, okay, you, but then Lars just let himself get hit by an enemy. Like, you're a bad hero. You're a bad leader. And Nova says, are you trying to make me look bad? So he looks at Amy and he says, you're getting overwhelmed. Attack from a distance. And she's like, okay, got it. And she's throwing her stars and they all miss because she's not very good at long distance. And he's like, oh, come on. Nova looks at Chen and he's like, what are you doing? Fight back. He's just letting himself get swung around by an enemy. Chen's like, I don't feel like it. Nova's like, huh? And then the enemy throws Chen into Amy and Lars and knocks them all down. It's a strike. Nova covers his face like, oh my god. He's like, Dios mío, oh my god. And then smash cut to Fury being like, you failed. All of you failed. And he asked them, Lars, Chen, Amy, what do you think about Sam as a leader? And Lars is like, ugh, so bad. My grandma can do better. Amy's like, awful. Chen's like, his helmet's so shiny, it's distracting. Fury says, you understand, you may not need a team, but you need them to become a good leader. That's experience you can't get by yourself. And Lars says, I didn't expect you to make us win first time. Amy said, yeah, it would be weird if you got it right immediately. And Chen said, why would I take orders for some idiot I just met? And Sam's like, okay, fine, I get it. I get your point. And Fury says, you're a team now. Fury's like, you're a team now. And it smash cuts to them at their dorm room. And he's like, the safety of Stark University and its students is in your hands. And then Amy's like, this place is so nice. I can't believe we get to live and study here for free. And Lars is like, we still have to pass our classes. Fury said he'll take away our scholarships if we slack. And Chen's like, dang it. Sam says, I'm the leader. I get the biggest room. And Lars is like, what? Absolutely not. I'm the best hero, so it's mine. And then they start fighting, and Chen and Amy are like, we're just going to take the rooms furthest away. It's like, good idea. And then we zoom out, and we zoom out, and we zoom out, and then we finally go to this planet where there's like a pyramid. And then inside the pyramid, there's like this really cool, like ancient looking room with like pillars and columns and like sphinxes and stuff. And there's a pool of blackness in the middle. And then a hand rises out of it. But then the hand is like flaking away. And you see bone, because clearly it's not, something's missing. It's not, it can't stay together. And you hear a voice saying, the vessel, my vessel. And then that's it. That's the first little introduction. I think it does a good job of laying out their personalities. Despite how short it was, you get a good feel of what they're like. You already get a sense of Sam isn't a very good leader. Sam and Lars have a rivalry. Amy is very happy-go-lucky, and Chen is just very lazy, doesn't want to be there. So I think it serves as a pretty solid introduction, at least in my opinion. You get a good sense, especially just 8 pages. You get a really good sense of what they're like. My next plan is to get drawing this. I'll post updates. I'll try to post updates, and then hopefully I can get it done by next month, and I can get a cool reading of it done. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you stay tuned to actually watch this comic come to life.